Good morning, afternoon, or evening. What a truly beautiful day it is. Wherever you are, welcome. I am your humbled host, Tony Serrano, and this is the PhD in Me. Welcome back. This is the PhD in Me podcast. So, class is in session, except I'm not the teacher and you're not the student. You actually know all the answers. They're already inside of you. My job is to ask the questions. Ask questions that I've already asked myself to guide the dialogue so that with every episode you grow closer to who you are. You reveal your authentic self, and you build trust to live who you are, even in the outside world. So, last episode, we talked about how to confront who you are. Now, this isn't an unfinished conversation, and it's not something that you can do overnight. But with the mirror exercise, you can actually physically witness who you are. And when we witness who we are, we can love ourselves unconditionally. So if you missed that episode, definitely go check it out. Today, we are going to talk about a very big topic, forgiveness. So I want you to first thank yourself for making it here, whether you're watching on YouTube, Instagram, or just listening via your headphones or through Spotify or Apple Podcast. Seriously, take a second and thank yourself. Because just you giving yourself this time, you are now investing in yourself. And the highest return is love, is exploration, is growing closer to who we are. So we can feel confident to be this no matter what the situation, no matter what happens in life. That's the PhD in you. So thank you for being here. And I want today to be very easy, as every day, because this isn't something people sit down and talk about. When you go out to parties and stuff, very rarely can you actually sit down and have this deep of a conversation. So, number one, feel good about it and pat yourself on the back. And number two, know that emotions are okay. I don't know if anyone has ever directly said that to you, but emotions are okay. It's okay to feel. It's okay to experience. And number three, you have emotions. But your emotions don't define you. There is something more profound, more deep beneath all of that surface of emotions, of your authentic being. And lastly, think of emotions as indicators, as alerts or notifications. It means that something in your environment needs attention. It's not bad or not good, just something needs attention. It could be in your external environment or even your internal environment. So really take this episode and take your emotions and just allow them to be, allow them to flow, allow yourself to experience without any judgment, like, oh, I shouldn't be feeling this, or why am I feeling this, or maybe I feel guilty for feeling this. Just know that coming into today that this is a safe space, that this is a space that is so needed when you are going to move through life and have the PhD in you. So today we're talking about forgiveness. And last thing, I wanted to give a quick heads up. I may get really passionate. And the reason why is I know how it feels to be in a place where you get hurt by someone or you hurt yourself and where you need to take the action of forgiveness. I know what it feels like. And I wish that I could have been that referee, that third person, unbiased, that said, hey, like blow the whistle and say some things needs your attention. and be able to hold that space. So I may get passionate today, and that's part of emotions too. And it doesn't just define me as a person, but it is something that I love people. I love exploring who you are. I love embracing who you are. And so I will probably get passionate today. So let's start off with a little story. So forgiveness is something we never really sit down and we talk about. But what are some scenarios that could warrant forgiveness to happen? So one of the first things I could think of is when it comes to friendship. You tell a friend a secret, and then they go and they tell that secret to someone else, and they hurt you. Forgiveness is warranted when someone has done something to hurt you, whether they betray your trust. It could be in a partnership. It can be physically, like they physically betray you with another person. It could even be just your friend not even going to tell another person, but just what they say to you. Say that you are vulnerable and you open up to them, and then they respond with an opinion or a judgment that hurts you. So we have to be able to forgive. And it's not easy. It's not easy because when we put ourselves in such a vulnerable place where we open ourselves up and we put ourselves in a place that maybe we haven't even explored yet. If I say I have this emotion and I open up to you, but I haven't even explored this emotion, and then for some reason or another you make me feel guilty or stupid or in some way invalidate my emotion, now I can't even process that emotion because now I'm on a defensive mode. I may be caught off guard, and then I put my guard up because the way you responded to my openness was not received in a loving way. So forgiveness is something that is a powerful tool. It is something that you must master. You really must master forgiveness, because when you don't forgive, you hold on to that hurt. You hold on to the anger or the resentment or the shame, or you punish yourself. And in order for us to live our authentic self, we must love. And in order to love, you have to forgive. Forgiveness is one of those things that what love is, it's unconditional. So I'm going to go off some notes today because it is a more complex topic. Not that it's difficult, but it is complex. There's a lot of moving parts. So really, the definition of forgiveness is a deliberate decision to release feelings that caused you harm. So it's a deliberate, you're choosing, it's a choice. Forgiveness is a choice. It's not something that you can wake up and just forgive somebody. You have to choose and decide, even if there isn't an apology, which most times there isn't. Most times there's not even accountability. The person may not even think they hurt you. They may downplay or invalidate your emotions and go, well, what's the big deal? It's not even a big deal. Why does it matter? I didn't even hurt you. They may not take accountability for that. So it's a choice to whether they accept that accountability or whether they say, I'm sorry. Because most of the times they're not going to say, I'm sorry. And most of the time, sometimes if a person passes on, that's where we have to forgive, and we can't even do it face to face. So forgiveness is not constrained to a time. It can happen at any point, and all you have to do is say yes. Now, today I want to work up to where you believe that yes, where it's not just, oh, I forgive them, but like secretly you don't, or you're kind of lying to yourself. I want you to feel confident and go, you know what? I do forgive them. I forgive them. I love myself, and I know I got my back. So that's what we're walking towards today. So a deliberate decision to release the feelings, like to let go. Because again, if we like harbor that, it only is going to hurt us even more. It's going to continue to hurt us. When we wake up, we're going to feel that pain of being hurt. And maybe we'll lash out at other people. So then we're not making healthy relationships in the future. If anything, it's detrimental to hold on to that anger or that resentment or the vengeance. That's how it's usually described online and in dictionaries. But what I want to talk to today is that it could be also feelings of disappointment. You could be disappointed and let down. You can be ashamed or embarrassed. You can feel guilty or misled or betrayed. And you can even feel judged. I even think forgiveness is letting go of the feeling of punishment. I'm going to get into it today. There's forgiving others and then there's forgiving ourselves. So let's start with the forgiving others. Forgiving others is a little bit easier because you can create distance. Just because you forgive the person doesn't mean that you need "I'm sorry." It doesn't mean that you need them to be accountable. And it doesn't mean that you accept their behavior. What they did, you do not condone. You do not enable it. You do not excuse that behavior. But you forgive them for doing it. And now you can make distance with yourself. It doesn't mean that you have to trust them again and let them in. Forgiveness does not equal trust. Forgiveness does not equal reconciliation. Okay, I want to make that clear because you can still forgive a person and not let them back into your life. Forgiveness is letting go. Letting go mostly of how it affects you. Not so much about them. You're not worried about them, right? We can only change ourselves. We can't change other people. We can only be the change that we wish to see in the world. We can't force change on another person. So if we take accountability for ourselves, then we can forgive ourselves and let go of all of those feelings of anger, of jealousy, of being disappointed. We can let go of that. But it doesn't mean that we have to let them back in. That's what trust is. When you let them back in, when you reconcile, when you see, okay, maybe they can change that behavior and maybe we can work it out. But I have to be really clear about, what did you do wrong to me? How did you hurt me? And when you forgive others, again, you can bring that distance and go, I'm going to love you from a distance. My forgiveness doesn't mean that I don't love you. It doesn't mean that I'm punishing you. It means my forgiveness and my distance means that I'm protecting myself. So you can even tell them, this is not punishment for you. This is protection for me. This is not punishment for you. This is a response to your behavior. I am not overreacting or reacting. I am responding to your behavior. It does not align with who I am, with the respect and the love and the honor and the trust that I deserve. Forgiveness empowers you to recognize the pain without letting the pain become your identity, so that you can move through it. And that was just one experience. That you can have trust with other people. That forgiveness allows you to feel those emotions. It did hurt. But that's not going to color my world. Because I can go out now with this experience. I can learn the lessons and be very clear in the future of, I don't want to be treated this way. I don't like it when. You can be very direct with how you want to be treated. So the way today that I want you to feel confident to know that I'm going to forgive, but it's not going to be this lie that I tell myself, oh, I forgive them. Like, I'm really going to feel it in my heart. I'm going to process my emotions. I'm going to experience it. I'm going to explore why they're even there and how it makes me feel. And I'm going to feel confident to know that in the future that it's not going to happen again. It's not going to happen because I got my back. Because I know what I'm worth. I know what I deserve. So for you to feel confident, I just broke it down into 3 steps. Now, I've dealt with a lot of trauma, so not every story is going to be able to follow these 3 steps, but this is just a general outline of the 3 steps that it could take, that it has taken for me in my life, even though it was traumatic. And even though I had a lot of emotions to unpack, a lot of reasons why I got hurt, these are the general 3 that will help you to forgive. So, number 1, call it out. Call out the behavior. What did they do? What did they do that hurt you? What was the behavior? And then name the emotion. How did you feel when they did that to you? Did they betray your trust? And then it made you feel insecure and unsafe, and maybe even stupid for being vulnerable. And then you put your guard up. So call out what they did. Did they betray your sense of safety? Or did they betray who you are as a person? Like bring you into a situation, even bringing you into a situation that you didn't want to be in. They brought you in there. And how did that make you feel? Were you really uncomfortable? Did you feel forced or pressured? So describe the pain, describe it. And, name the emotion, describe the pain. It hurt me when. And what you can do is go with this 7 levels deep. It's called an exercise, and it's called 7 levels deep. So we can even go through it together. So what you would do is you'd get out a piece of paper and you'd think about what the person did that hurt you. So then, number 1, you're going to go 7 times and you're going to ask why. So, number 1, it hurt me when. You name that behavior, you call it out. And then, why did it hurt you? Because I felt embarrassed. Why? Then you go another level deep. Because that's not who I am. And then you go another level deep. Why? Because that's not what I deserve. And I want you to really feel these, so really take a moment and explore these. Then you go another level deeper. Well, why? Because I trusted you. Why would it hurt then? You go another level deeper. Because I loved you. And then go another level, the 7th level. Why? Because I'm afraid to love myself again. Maybe you're afraid that your judgment of friends isn't good, and so maybe you avoid friends. Or maybe you think that because you were in a position to be hurt, that somehow you don't deserve love because you weren't there for yourself, like you didn't protect yourself, that you didn't have your back. And all of those reasons are 100% valid. Don't downplay or disregard or invalidate anything that you write with the 7 levels exercise. It's true. It's an emotion. You felt it. You experienced it. Now it's time to just explore it. Explore it. And you may cry. You may cry. I cried so much trying to ask myself Do they even deserve my forgiveness? Why would I forgive them? I'm just so angry at them. I'm so angry at myself. Like, how could they? How could they? How could you hurt me? And it's okay to go through those questions. Because now we're going to channel it. We're going to channel it, okay? So after you do the 7 levels deep, then step 2 is to declare what you deserve. Declare your worth. And you go down to your 7 levels deep. I deserve to have trust. I deserve to be loved, to be honored, to be respected. I deserve to be asked, do I want to be brought into this scenario that I feel uncomfortable? I deserve you or the person to ask me, do I want to? I deserve that. And then you can either write this down, or if you feel confident, to go and tell the person that I'm going to forgive you. Like, you don't even have to, let's pause. You don't have to tell them that you're even thinking about forgiving them. You can actually forgive them in advance. And then that's a whole nother healing process on its own. When you actually can forgive the person without the apology, without the I'm sorry. When you can forgive the person without the accountability that they did hurt you. You are healing on your own, and it's in a profound feeling and experience just to know that you can forgive them without them even knowing. So I actually encourage, do the forgiving before and let it sink in. Let yourself sit in that space where you can go, yeah, I do forgive them. And you wait a couple days and you sleep on it and you're like, yeah, that was a good idea. You know, sometimes we have bad ideas, and when we go to bed and we wake up, we're like, oh, we shouldn't have done that. But when you forgive, like, sleep on it. Let it marinate. Play with it a little bit. Maybe you go back and you do the 7 levels deep again and again and again and again until you feel ready. You're like, oh, yeah, I did forgive. Because when you do get to that point, which you will, it's just a load off your shoulders. Seriously, it's just a load off. Like, whew, I don't have to carry that anymore. It's a lot. It's a lot. Like, you will feel physically lighter. And just stillness. Like, you just shake it out and just allow yourself to go and explore that. Because then when you do say you do want to let them know, like, hey, I forgave you. Or maybe they ask, maybe you give them that distance and you go, you know, things between us just didn't sit right with me. And I need some space. So you can even tell them, or you can just break it off completely. I mean, nowadays it's just so easy. Just unfollow them or block them or just not even respond to their texts or calls. So take the time that you need between these steps. And whether you feel comfortable or not, you can tell them, or even do this in the mirror exercise that I mentioned last episode. The mirror exercise is not only to confront or witness who you are, but it's also to practice. It's like practice standing up for you. Practice saying what you deserve and saying what you're worth. Practice it in the mirror until you get confident and you believe it in yourself and you feel it in yourself. And you're like, I'm not willing to take anything less. Because this is what I'm about. This is what I'm about. And if you're not about it, then let's not be about together, you know? Like, that's where you get in a certain point in your life where people are just harming you and they're hurting you. And it's not like you're avoiding social connection. It's not like you're like avoiding having future partnerships. It's that you know what you're worth. You know what you deserve. And if someone's not going to honor or respect that, you know, then they don't deserve to be in your life. At least not yet. But you can still love them. You can give them unconditional love. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It just means that you don't approve of their behavior. It doesn't honor your highest good. It doesn't serve your authentic self. And it's okay to say that, to declare. That's why the second step is declare. It's not just tell them or say it, or, you're declaring, like, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. You be on board, and I love you, whether you are or not, but you either want to spend time with me, you want to spend time together, you want to cultivate a relationship, or, if you want to achieve a goal together, then, we got to be on the same page, right? We got to be playing the same game, playing by the same rules. So you can go, and when you feel comfortable, you can even tell the person, like, hey, I forgave you, but I don't want you back in my life. I'm not ready to reconcile. I don't agree with your behavior. I'm not punishing you, but I'm just protecting myself. And I know that what you did hurt me, and this is how, and you can just share with them. And then maybe they just downplay it again. Maybe they just go, whatever, I didn't hurt you. You're just too sensitive. It wasn't a big deal. You are just in another world. They'll just say things, and it's called gaslighting, where they make you question your memory. But you be strong, and you write this down. So number 1 is to call it out, call out that behavior. You name the emotion, you describe the pain. You can go the 7 levels deep. It hurt me when, and then you go, why? Why did it keep hurting me? Why? You ask 7 levels deep. Then step 2 is to declare what you deserve. Declare your worth. And then step 3 is to actually forgive. I forgive you. That's step 3. Apology or not, accountability or not, I release the feelings of. And you can go to your 7 levels deep. I release the feelings of betrayal, embarrassment, and fear. I release those. Because I've got my back. I know how I was hurt. I know how I felt. And I know what I deserve. So now going forward in the future, you can establish these boundaries or these concepts right off the bat. You can be so clear with your words. You can be so direct and communicate. I trust full out, and I don't want someone's betrayal of me to inhibit me from trusting in the future. So I'm going to trust you. I'm going to just trust you and respect you and honor you before you even earn it, right? I'm just going to do it. But just know that I value my trust, and I value love, respect, and honor. And the ways that I like to be treated, I will be very vocal. I will be direct. I will communicate. I will be clear. Like, I don't like getting dragged into situations where I feel uncomfortable. I would like for you to ask before you do it. And you're not going to just lay this out right away. You can write it down and save it and bookmark it. But really how you build the PhD in me is that when you go out into the world, if you know the indicators of someone's about to drag me into a conversation, I don't want to be dragged into it. You've seen it before, you've seen that behavior, so they're coming over to you and you're like, whoa, it seems like you might drag me into this, and I don't like to be dragged into drama, so please respect and honor my space. Don't bring me into it. That's how you integrate your insights into daily life, is by just acknowledging that behavior. And since you've gone through all of the beautiful work, you can then set your boundary and be clear and direct about it. So this may seem like forgiveness is all super easy. And so let's go into forgiving yourself. I think that's actually the hardest one, because forgiving others is easier because you can create distance. You can separate them from your life. But when you hurt yourself and you try to forgive yourself, You can't just give the part of you that hurt you space. Like you're attached to your body. And so when you go through emotions throughout the day, you're going to feel those feelings come up and those emotions arise. So forgiving yourself is actually, I think, more difficult than forgiving other people. What we can take away is that forgiving other people is unconditional love. True unconditional love is to love you regardless, with no conditions. But that doesn't mean that you can harm or hurt the person, because love can be unconditional from a distance. So when you take that, let's take that to yourself. One of the things that we do is we validate their behavior, because it doesn't get to this forgiveness part until, unfortunately, when they've really burned the bridge in the relationship, when they've just hurt you and over again, and there was no way for you to articulate how they were hurting you, or maybe they weren't listening, or maybe you felt like if you loved them that you would stay, or maybe it was like an identity part of you that just allowed it to keep happening. So when you forgive yourself, you're getting to the point where you validate your actions, or you validate their behaviors. You try to validate their actions. Oh, they didn't know any better, or they didn't have self-control, or they didn't care, or they weren't thinking. And all of those may be true, but that doesn't mean that you continue that relationship with the person. So when you take that modeling and bring it to how do we forgive ourselves, we have to break that down. They didn't know any better. Okay, that means I didn't know any better when I was hurting myself in the behavior that maybe I was putting myself as an angry person, or impatient, or that I didn't care, or that I wasn't thinking. We take that and we go, okay, I wasn't thinking. So in order to forgive myself, I have to start thinking. If those actions that made me harm myself, maybe it was me talking drama or bad about someone, or judging someone else, or judging myself, I have to start to care that I don't want to judge. I don't want to judge other people. I don't want to judge myself. And I have to start to care, and I have to start to think about not doing that. I have to start to build self-control. Oh, I didn't have self-control back then. Yes, own it. Yeah, embrace it. It's okay. It's okay, we're not perfect. It's okay, you were never taught how to self-control. It's okay, you were never taught to care or taught to think. How can you expect to be good at something that you were never taught, that you never learned? Be easier on yourself. We're the first to validate or excuse someone else's behavior, but we're the last to validate or excuse our own behavior. Just think about that for a second. We're the first to make an excuse or validate someone else's behavior. Oh, they hurt me because they're going through a lot, right? But then when we take it to ourselves, we're the last person to forgive ourselves or to validate or excuse our behavior. We're so hard on ourselves. And if you can invite some love in this moment, if you can invite a deep breath, maybe just another deep breath. Okay, I did hurt myself. I wasn't in a good place, and that wasn't my best moment. That wasn't my best decision making. I wasn't thinking. I didn't care. I didn't care for self-control, or I didn't know self-control, or I didn't even know I was hurting myself. I didn't know I was hurting myself to be judging other people and be invested in their drama and care so much about what others did and didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't know that was hurting myself. I didn't know that allowing someone to have toxic relationships was hurting me. And I didn't know how to say, stop it. I don't want you to do that to me. I didn't know. And it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I know the pain that you feel. I know how you feel alone and sad. Like, is this what I'm made of? Is this me? Is this the best of me? It's not. You have so much more within you. You have so much love. And you punish yourself. You're punishing yourself by not forgiving, not letting go of the behavior that hurts you. Maybe it hurts your reputation or your integrity as a person. Maybe you violated your own trust within yourself. Like, that's not me. And so take a moment to even acknowledge or consider, am I punishing myself? And is it possible to forgive? To let go of those feelings of shame, of guilt. And the way that you can feel confident to do this and not feel like you're faking it, to not feel like you're lying to yourself, is to address that behavior. What is the behavior that hurts you in the past? What is the behavior that even hurts you today? Do you put yourself in situations that don't serve your highest good, where you could be around people who encourage you to talk drama, to be negative, to put other people down behind their back, to put yourself down, that judge you and have so many opinions that don't serve you? They're not true. Are you putting yourself in the relationships that only attract what you are on the outside, the facade or the personality that you portray? Or maybe it's the amount of money that you have, or the status, the ego, the career. What type of punishment or what type of behavior makes you hurt yourself and harm who you are inside? Where you might feel the need to lie, or you may feel the need to be secretive. What behaviors? So you just address those behaviors that you're doing and slowly, day by day, work to correct it. Start with that forgiveness. I forgive you for not caring about your body or honoring your body or honoring your spirit. I forgive you for not knowing any better, because no one taught you this information. No one sat down and laid that foundation of how to treat and love and honor and respect yourself and respect others. No one taught you to be a good friend, to be kind to yourself. I forgive you because you didn't know any better. And now that you're learning and loving yourself and accepting who you are, the good, bad, and the ugly, then you can truly forgive yourself and let go. Let it go. It does not serve you anymore. You have punished yourself long enough. It is time to free yourself. Let it go. Let it go. And although you forgive, it doesn't mean that you forget. You learn the lessons and you love yourself just as you are. Even if you stepped in the mud, you love and you forgive and you smile and you laugh and you move forward. And you know that that was just a moment in your life. It does not define you as a person. There is something deeper within you that is so profound, that is infinite, that is pure love. And the beautiful part of being a human is that we can share that love. We can share that honesty and that trust and that surrender and that grace and the joy and the peace. We can share those feelings and that energy together. So know that when you're doing forgiveness, because it's an action, what you're going to get out of it. You're going to get peace, more love, trust. You're going to build trust with yourself. Like, I'm not saying I got my back. I really got my back. I got my back. I know what I'm worth. I know what I deserve. I can speak up. I can say it. I could declare. You're going to have richer relationships, deeper meaning, fulfillment, joy. That's enough for me to forgive everybody I know. Because now I know that I can set my boundaries proactively as they're occurring, as I'm meeting new people, as we're going deeper in our relationships. I could be like, okay, we talked about some drama and that's okay. For drama's okay to talk about, but what's the chunk of the relationship? What's the majority of the relationship? And you can figure out the people in your life. That's how you have a fulfilling life. That's how you have meaningful life, is to have meaningful relationships, meaningful connections where you feel safe to be your authentic self. You feel safe to be vulnerable and open up and share your emotions and share your thoughts in a space where you know you won't be betrayed. How beautiful. How beautiful to know that you can go forward in life and trust people. I've always said that people do strange things without love in their life. People also do strange things when they don't have trust. So what a beautiful moment for you to just be here, for us to be here together, to explore our emotions, because emotions are okay. Emotions are okay. And you have emotions, but you're not your emotions. You're more than your emotions. So just to recap, this applies to forgiving others and also forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself is there's an extra step in there because you have to take accountability. But the first step is to call it out. Call out the behavior that harmed you, the behavior that hurt you. Name the emotion that you feel in that hurt. Do the 7 levels deep exercise. Describe the pain. It hurt me when. Then declare what you deserve. Declare your worth. I deserve to have trust. I deserve to be asked permission. I deserve to express my emotions and they be considered or validated or heard. You don't have to accept everything, but I do ask that you respect. You don't have to agree with everything, but I do ask that you respect. And the final step is, I forgive you. Whether you just go through these steps on paper and let it sink in, you don't have to tell them any of this work. You just tell them the step 3, I forgive you. Because the step 1 and 2 is you building like, yeah, I'm exploring this, and yeah, I'm going through it, and yeah, it affected me, and yes, you validate all of your emotions, and you go, I forgive you. I can forgive you. I'm at a place where I feel empowered and encouraged to forgive you, whether I tell you or not, whether you say, I'm sorry, whether you take accountability for your actions, I forgive you. I release feelings of, because I got my back. I got my back. And now I'm going to be so direct and so clear. This is my emotional health, my emotional well-being. And it deserves to be respected, it deserves to be loved, and it deserves to be honored. So my last question this episode is, did you grow closer to who you are? You just being here listening means yes. This is the work. This is the effort. You showed up today. Resounding 100% yes, you did. So if this episode impacted you today, be sure to share with someone who matters and maybe write a review for the podcast so that other people will know if this podcast is for them. I'm also starting a free talk group via Zoom where we meet on Sundays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And it's where you can meet new friends, talk about your day, talk about your week, or whatever's been going on in your life. Just bring yourself, leave the judgment behind. This will be a space of pure love and acceptance. So if you'd like to join that Zoom group, please email me at info@thehumbledhuman.org or DM me on Instagram at thehumbled.human. So, in light and love, namaste. Have yourself a beautiful, bright day.